Lorenzo knows that Marquez would try and get away, but Aleix Espargaro fights back once again, then runs it a little bit wide. So they come down now into turn 11. Marquez is getting away at the front.
Lorenzo back underneath Espargaro at turn 11. Marquez already trying to make a break. 0.3 of a second up he was through the first 3 sectors. Espargaro again up the inside of Lorenzo. This is down at turn 13. Runs it a little bit wide. Lorenzo back into second. End of the first lap. Marquez leads. Lorenzo, Espargaro, Crutchlow, Dovizioso, and Iannone is your top 6. There is the race leader, Marc Marquez. This is 13 laps to go into turn 5. The gap still just over 4 seconds.
Super to watch him through turn 5 into this sweeping turn 6. 12.5 laps to go. He won the race here last year. He bided his time. It was a different race. He only took the lead, I think, on lap 17 after being down in 6th place. Then was a comfortable winner. Dovizioso is not letting Rossi get away in their battle, the battle they had for 2nd place in Austin just a week ago.
The gap on the last lap between Marquez and Rossi, just 0.06 of a second. Andrea Dovizioso now, he's dropped back into the 139s. He was a 1/10 of a second slower than Valentino Rossi, so he's not letting his compatriot run away in 2nd place. There's Marquez now, coming down into turn 12. This is the final, this is the penultimate corner. This is 13. Marquez there, at the bottom of your screen, coming through turn 14 now. Let's have a look at the gap as he comes over to start lap 14. Marquez, 4 seconds clear of Rossi, so Rossi not really making any impression.
He's not, but he's not increasing it at the moment, is he? Which, and if everything we're told by Bridgestone and Dylan getting all the information down there, the pendulum will swing a little bit in Rossi's favour towards the end of the race.
There's Pol Espargaro, good ride from the Spaniard because he started way down in 18th place. He's fought his way back into the top 10 in 9th, chasing down his brother Aleix on the factory Suzuki, who's currently running in 8th. This is the battle for 11th with Danilo Petrucci, Maverick Vinales and Stefan Bradl.
There'll be some points for Stefan Bradl. That'll be welcome for the German, of course, on his 3rd ride for the Forward Racing Yamaha team after switching from the LCR Honda team.
There's actually a good battle between Bradl, Barbara, Jack Miller and Nicky Hayden for top open class honours. That's going on behind Maverick Vinales in 12th. Here's Valentino Rossi, currently running in 2nd place. Picked up a couple of 1/10 of a second on this lap through the first sectors. The advantage down to 3.8 seconds.
Yeah, this is going to be crucial. We're going to be looking at those lap times so carefully, just to see if Valentino Rossi has got any sort of an advantage. It could be an amazing end to the race. Yeah, let's have a look. It is coming down, Matt. It is coming down.
We're getting into the stage of the race where that extra hard tyre should be really coming to Valentino Rossi. You can see on the front there, he's got that red banded hard option front. Marquez now has crossed the line to finish lap 14. Rossi over the line now, the gap down to 3.7 seconds.
Just be interesting because they've just told Marquez what is happening. I mean, 3.7 is still a mighty big gap, but they've told him he's starting to close. Let's see what he's got now. Really push on to try and open it up again. It's going to be a fascinating last 11 laps.
Andrea Dovizioso keeps the pressure on Valentino Rossi, the number 4 on the factory Ducati. He's just set his best lap of the race so far, a 1:39.660. There he is, right behind Valentino Rossi on the back straight. The 2 Italians have dropped Andrea Iannone and certainly dropped Cal Crutchlow out of podium contention at the moment. Jorge Lorenzo way down in 6th place and 2.2 seconds back of Crutchlow in 5th.
This is Marquez into turn 6. What a replay again from Marc Marquez. This is 14, I think, isn't it? Coming into the finishing straight, corner speed 150 kilometers an hour. But Marquez, he can face any situation, but it's not the easiest situations for him here. Knowing that he's got to push on as hard as he possibly can, but just slightly worried. And Rossi now is beginning to lap considerably quicker than him, isn't he?
Marquez just dropped into the 140s there. You can see on that graphic on lap 14, Rossi running consistently in the 139s. Last lap was a 139.687. That's what helped him claw back those 0.3 of a second on Marquez. Marquez over the line now to start lap 16. The gap down to 3.4 seconds. Rossi's taken another 0.3 out of Marquez.
There may be little Marquez can do, because if he pushes too hard, he may find himself in major problems. If anybody can handle this situation, he can. And he looks like a man that really is on a mission at the moment, through 2, up towards 3 and 4. Keep an eye on those lap times. Rossi is on the charge, and he has a better choice of rear tyre as the race goes on and on.
Marquez now down into the braking zone for turn 5. Rossi just opening up a bit of a gap now on Andrea Dovizioso in 3rd. Iannone remains in 4th. Cal Crutchlow with best lap of the race so far from Jorge Lorenzo as he tries to cut the gap back to Crutchlow. This is Rossi now going through turn 6. The gap now through the first 2 splits down again to 3.1 seconds. Rossi edging ever closer to Marc Marquez.
Oh, what a race this is going to be. 9.5 laps to go. Looked like it was done and dusted for Marquez. Rossi is clawing back the advantage, and he should have, well, he should have the advantage with that extra hard rear tyre. The gap again, it's, well, actually, he's just pulled back a 1/10 of a second there, Marc Marquez, but let's wait and see when they cross the line. Rossi's certainly gotten him in his sights now. Dovizioso hanging on there in 3rd place. Wonder what the board is going to tell Valentino Rossi.
Lap 16 completed for Marc Marquez. He's over the line now. Rossi comes over as well. 3 seconds is the lead. Valentino Rossi takes another 0.3 of a second out of Marc Marquez. Now, what Marquez could be doing here, he knows he built up an advantage of over 4 seconds, so he might have just backed off slightly to try and manage his rear tyre, nurse it home to the finish. He has still got 3 seconds with 9 laps to go, so Marquez might just have eased off his pace a fraction, just to, as we say, try and preserve the grip of that rear tyre, Nick.
He must have realised what the situation may be right from the word go, and that's why he went out so quickly. And it still is a big gap, 3 seconds. But Rossi, when he's on the charge like this, knowing he's got that advantage of that extra hard rear tyre, can't speak highly enough about Andrea Dovizioso. And Cal Crutchlow has got back in front of Andrea Iannone.
Yeah, we're going to see that move by Crutchlow. This is down on the brakes into turn 12. Crutchlow up the inside of Iannone, so Crutchlow back into 4th place, and Jorge Lorenzo catching that battle for 4th.
Yeah, he's come back really strongly, Crutchlow. So Iannone, I think he was worried about the tyres at the end of the race. He was telling us yesterday. But here we are, Marquez. Front tyre hard, rear tyre hard. Valentino Rossi, the big difference is their rear tyres. One on a hard, one on an extra hard. And you would think, logically, that the extra hard will last the race distance longer.
Don't forget, Marc Marquez did come to the grid for this 25-lap race with the extra hard fitted to his Repsol Honda. He changed on the grid to the hard option. Marquez, well, he took a 10th back on Valentino Rossi on that lap, so you do wonder if he did just ease off for a couple of laps just to try and save a bit of grip on that tyre. Remains as it is now. Marc Marquez and Valentino Rossi will head to the first European round of the World Championship in Jerez in 2 weeks' time, level on points in the World Championship.
Marquez would be the official leader after winning 2 races. He may have managed this race quite brilliantly. And I tell you what, we're going to find out in the next couple of laps if that is the case, as they come down towards turn 5 with 7.5 laps remaining.
Good first sector on lap 18 by Valentino Rossi. You can see on that graphic there, the gap down by 0.4 of a second, from 3.127 seconds to 2.748. So Rossi good through the first sector with that extra hard rear tyre.
He's pulled back another 10th through the 3rd sector. These are crucial, these graphics coming up. Absolutely crucial, because it just will give us an indication as if Marquez is having to slow with the tyres, if he's been looking after the tyres. And Rossi, obviously very fast, very consistent, very confident in that rear tyre. Here we go. He's getting closer.
Rossi Another 0.2 of a second quicker through the third sector. Edging ever closer to Marc Marquez. It was only 3 or 4 laps ago. The gap was 4.1 seconds. Rossi has recovered 1.7 seconds as Marc Marquez crosses the line now to finish lap 18. The gap down to 2.314 seconds. Rossi has just set a personal best lap of the race, a 1:39.399. He was almost a full second quicker than Marquez.
Dylan, our tyre man. It looks like it's happening, doesn't it?
This is exactly what Bridgestone were predicting. They said the tyre's going to drop off that hard a lot more. The thing is, will he have anything in reserve? He might be waiting to see whether Rossi can catch up or not. That would be the clever thing to do. But, you know, this was a gamble which Marquez took. They knew exactly, and he knew exactly, he had to run out. He had to build that gap because they would catch up at the end. Maybe they're a bit surprised as to how quick Valentino's catching up.
Rossi is catching him all the time. It's coming down to almost 2 seconds now. There's those top speeds, but Rossi is closing. There's still 6.5 laps to go. Marquez must know now that the championship leader is closing all the time. That is the gap. They're down at 7 and 8. We've almost forgotten what's happening behind them. There is Crutchlow, Iannone coming under pressure from Lorenzo. Smith 7th, Aleix Espargaro 8, Paul Espargaro 9, Redding 10, Vinales, Petrucci, Barbara, Miller and Bradle are your point scorers.
Lorenzo having a big moment coming through turn 5. He's trying to fight his way by Andrea Iannone for 5th place. Cal Crutchlow still hanging on to 4th. Here's the race leader, Marc Marquez. This is through turn 13. Let's keep an eye on the gap. Valentino Rossi there, just coming through your shot. Marquez over the line now.
What is the gap going to be? Crosses the line, 2 seconds. 2 seconds between Marquez and Rossi. 6 laps to go.
And Valentino Rossi, Nick, is dragging Andrea Dovizioso back into this fight as well. Rossi across the line with the best lap of the race for him so far, as was Andrea Dovizioso. Dovizioso less than a second behind Valentino Rossi. 6 laps to go of the Termaster Rio Hondo circuit. Marquez coming under intense pressure. His lead down to under 2 seconds. Rossi has found nearly 3/10 again through the first sector. The lead, 1.7 seconds.
They race down towards turn 5. Marquez on the brakes. Rossi, that familiar big right leg goes out. It's a masterclass of riding by the master of Grand Prix racing. But catching him and then passing him may not be so easy. Dylan, is Marquez keeping something in reserve, or is he just having to ride as hard as he dares?
Well, I'm still down here with the Bridgestone guys. They're saying they're not entirely sure, because if he is pushing, then that's actually going to be very bad for him, because the tyre's just going to drop off more and more. The thing he should be doing now is try and keep it as smooth as possible, because at least then when Rossi does catch up, then he might have a bit more in reserve. So it's more him who's got to keep a calm head. But, you know, this is exactly the kind of situation that they were predicting beforehand.
This lead is being slashed now by Valentino Rossi. It's down to less than 1.5 of a second. There will be 5 laps to go when they cross the line. Rossi is going to be with him pretty quickly.
Has the gamble by Marc Marquez backfired? Rossi over the line, a new lap record from the Italian in 1:39.019. His fans cheer him on in the grandstands. Rossi now within 1.2 seconds of Marc Marquez, and this is where he's so strong through that first sector. Rossi has dropped Andrea Dovizioso. It looks like it's going to be a shootout for the victory between Marquez and that man there on the charge, Valentino Rossi.
36-year-old. He's riding like an 18-year-old on a track bike, isn't he? Amazing stuff from Rossi. There's nothing Marquez can do at the moment. He made the choice of that hard rear tyre. Rossi said right from the word go he was going to go from the extra hard. He's got him in his sights. When is he going to have the first nibble at him? Knowing Rossi, he will go at him as soon as he possibly can.
Rossi found another 10th through the first sector on this lap 21. That's Marc Marquez ahead of him as they plunge down the short downhill to turn 7. Marquez now pitches it right, going through 7 and 8. Rossi, what a ride. Well, we said he started 8th on the grid and won in Phillip Island, and he started 8th in Qatar and won. He's putting up a pretty good fight to make it 3 in a row.
He certainly is.
Guys, looking at the data from last race, with roughly 5 laps to a go, this was the point when the guys on wearing tyres started to say, look, now I know how far it is to the end. Sorry, well, they know that anyway, but now they know that it's not so long, and we might see some of them start pushing. So let's keep an eye on Marc Marquez, whether there comes this point where he, say, pulls the trigger and says, now I don't have much left, now I can really burn the tyres up.
Marquez will not give this up without an enormous fight. You know that. 4 laps ago, Rossi in second place. The gap now 1.157 seconds. Be interesting through that second split just to see the gap. He's got him in his sights. He's not quite close enough. You've got a glimpse there. Dovizioso, Crutchlow, Iannone, Lorenzo, Smith, Aleix Espargaro.
Just a quick shot there of Marquez's crew chief, Santi Hernandez, checking the track temperature. Is that hard option rear tyre going to hold out for the victory? 4 laps to go. Valentino Rossi powers down the back straight. The gap now 0.6 of a second on the brakes into turn 5. Rossi as close as he's been all race.
Rossi's got him in his sights. There's the track temperatures all the way round. It's a lot hotter than it has been for the day so far. And it's getting late. It's coming up to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here. The sun has only really come up in the last couple of hours. Marquez made the choice of using the hard rear tyre, not the extra hard. Rossi, from the word go, said he was going to use the extra hard. Who has made the right decision? 3.5 laps will tell us.
Through turn 11, Marc Marquez. Valentino Rossi has taken another 1/10 of a second out of the double world champion. Half a second now, the gap. Rossi almost right with Marquez as they come to complete lap 22.
Through the right-hander, flick it left over the start line. 3 laps ago, and an amazing Grand Prix of Argentina here at the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit. Up towards turn 1. Rossi chasing his second Grand Prix victory of the season, as is Marquez. Rossi closing all the time.
Unbelievable performance by the 9 times world champion through the second corner. Marquez having big moments. That rear tyre twitching as he gets on the gas. Rossi now, this is through turns 3 and 4. Rossi right with Marquez now as they power down the back straight.
Will he have a go first time? I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. We ride with Rossi. Marquez in front of him as they come down towards turn 5. He likes 7 and 8, also Rossi for overtaking.
Marquez now, this is through turn 5, runs it over the curb on the inside. Valentino Rossi now within 0.3 of a second of the Spaniard.
Seconds don't matter anymore now, it's visual. You can see Rossi closes up down at turn 7.
What a recovery by Valentino Rossi. He said all along that he needed to race that extra hard rear tyre. Marquez gambled, he rolled the dice on the grid. He came to the grid with that extra hard option on. We thought he was going to race it. He switched at the last minute to that red-banded hard option tyre. Has that been his crucial mistake? 2.5 laps to go. Rossi now right with Marquez.
Down at 12 and 13, when they cross the line, there will be 2 laps to go. Marquez can probably hear Rossi closing up on him. Rossi does close on 13, flick it through 14. 2 laps to go with this extraordinary Grand Prix of Argentina. They race up to turn 1. Here comes Rossi.
Marquez holds the lead going through the first corner. Valentino Rossi hugging his back wheel. Rossi so quick through this first sector. Will he have a look on the inside at turn 2? Rossi moves to the inside. Rossi's going to take the lead. Rossi up the inside of Marquez. Runs it a little bit wide. Marquez back through at turn 2.
We knew he wouldn't give up without a big fight. Marquez back in front. Rossi closes once again through 3 and 4. Can he get a slipstream and try and get out of the slipstream on the brakes into turn 5? Here we go. 93 against 46. Rossi on the brakes.
Rossi up the inside. Marquez had a bit of a moment on the brakes going into turn 5. Rossi leads contact there between Marquez and Rossi. Oh, Marquez is down. Marc Marquez has crashed out of second place in the Argentinian Grand Prix. Well, they touched on the exit of turn 5. As Marquez and Rossi went to flick into turn 6, Marquez clipped the back of Rossi and the world champion is down.
No points for Marc Marquez. A touch coming out of turn 5 with 1.5 laps to go. Marc Marquez race is over. Rossi surely now will win the Grand Prix of Argentina to increase his lead in the World Championship. Listen to the crowd.
What a remarkable last couple of laps we've seen. What a remarkable 23 laps we've seen here in Argentina. Valentino Rossi crosses the line to start the final lap